someone who is outrageously good looking and talented, supremely witty and hardworking, ethically, morally just incomparable person.
I must have been really sleep deprived when I said that or ever wrote that. I don't know when or how that happened.
I'm so freaking happy that you're coming to India finally. So I am very, very excited about this.
So excited to be going back to India. I've never been to Mumbai either. I've only just had a flight connection through. I'm gonna have a blast, and that will be, a thing with me and the fans.
Firstly, a huge welcome to India today, Eric. I was wondering how to introduce you because I mean you're so supremely witty that I was like, how to outwit a person who is so witty already. So I just thought that maybe I'll use your own words, your own adjectives to sort of introduce you, which is he's someone who is outrageously good looking and talented, supremely witty and hardworking, ethically, morally just incomparable person, a singer, a songwriter, an entrepreneur, everything. I mean, you can't box this person. Here, I'm talking to Eric now. How are you?
Hi. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that generous, kind introduction. I must have been really sleep deprived when I said that or ever wrote that. I don't know when or how that happened, but thank you. I'm doing very well. It is a pleasure to be here speaking with you.
When you are in public eye, you have this persona where you're literally the most happy-go-lucky guy that I have ever seen, who connects with everyone on a very different level emotionally. But when it comes to the musician Eric now, he's as deep as one can expect him to be. Like it's complete. I find a very dual personality. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
I think as people, we all have very multiple different layers and different personas for different situations. I think when I'm on screen, I'm usually hosting or I'm trying to guide people through a conversation. And that requires an optimism and a positivity to really carry things through. And more than anything, I have a lot of, I think, social anxiety when it comes to any situation. I just want to make sure that people feel good, they're comfortable, and that I am doing a good job as well. So I think on screen, that is what people are going to tend to see. Now, again, when people are on screen, what you don't see is all the times that I'm not on screen, where I am going through something emotional or deeper or sad or happy or whatever it may be. And those are the times where I can really take time to myself with my songwriters and to pull together those thoughts and emotions into a song. So to me, I don't know if it's so much of a dual personality, but just different moments require
Correct.
and allow different personalities or aspects of myself.
But that's also amazing because I believe that writing or just that the entire process of putting your thoughts and your emotions into words can be a little daunting as well, because not every time you're tapping onto an emotion which is happy. uh Actually, in most parts it's the other way around. It's the most complicated feeling that you're trying to portray through art, right? As Eric now, when you are like working on a music or a new album or a single, is that process sometimes a little overwhelming for you, or how do you tap into your emotions? Because you're also dabbling between different hats, right? Like one day you're a songwriter, next day you're a musician, next day you're touring and also hosting and also like conducting interviews. Does it get overwhelming sometimes?
I think definitely, and coming out of, let's see, starting from the There and Back Again album, particularly, I had spent most of the pandemic just podcasting and working on,
Yeah.
companies. And so getting back into the studio to write was a very weird and awkward thing, but I was bouncing in and out every other day, going from working with a team on other projects that are not related to music, then to writing, and just in the middle of a studio session, I would have to jump on a conference call to talk about whatever crazy thing that's happening on the other side. So it can be very difficult and very hard. So I think for me, what I like to do the most when I'm songwriting now is to say this week or for these days, I'm only writing. And it allows me to really focus in on the emotions and what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. And I think the way I'm able to do that is like every day, whatever I'm doing, no matter where I am, if I have a thought that to me is like, oh, this is an indicator of an emotion or how I'm doing in that moment, I'm just going to write it down. And I can kind of go back to that moment and say, this is what I was feeling. This is why. And I have a very, like, every songwriting session is very therapeutic. It's me,
Yeah.
songwriters, we just talk about those experiences very, you know, with a lot of time, which is scary sometimes, but also very, in some ways therapeutic.
I think I would like to believe it's also therapeutic, because when I talk about music or just entertainment in general, because we talk about the nuances so much that it's therapeutic. Like, to people, it's like, what are you doing? But I'm like, but you don't know that's the joy of doing it. I mean, that's why I am in this profession. But also, correct me if I'm wrong again. Also, I mean, you started off, of course, in 2011, but I think your career as a musician began like 2 years later. So that would mean that this is your 11th year in the industry, right? And you've grown so much, just as an artist over the years. I mean, your sound has changed. Now when I hear your music, I feel that you're so much more confident and assured of who you are, rather than before. Because of course, back then you were also dabbling between two different identities. Because I believe when you are, like, for example, when you are an American Korean, in terms of just identity, it becomes difficult. Because I have had artists in India who would say that sometimes, who also work in West, they would complain that, you're never completely Indian or you're never completely a foreigner, because you're dabbling in between. And I believe you would relate to that a lot more. I want to know, how have you personally, I mean, you're the best judge of how you've evolved. What is that one change or one thing that you believe that has been the biggest change for you as an artist in the last few years?
Thank you for the question. Very thoughtful. I think, yeah, personally, like for me as well, like there's a lot of going in back and forth of like, where do I fit in? How do I do this? Is it Korea? Is it America? Is it other places of the world? What stories should I tell? What am I allowed to tell? How do I tell it? And that comes in terms of lyrics, but also music styling, and also like, visuals and all these different things. Like, how do we create things that are entertaining, that are beautiful, that are fun, that are good to listen to, but still stay true to who you are between multiple markets? And I think it's a very confusing thing because every market has its own preference. They all want different things. For many parts of Asia, Korea included, a lot of people want ballads from me, and I personally just do not like ballads. And so it was a very long,
Yeah.
long fight and struggle with the label to say I don't want to do ballads. And so there's a lot of confusion and there's a lot of questioning and self-doubt when it comes to creating. But I think what helped me the most is to come to terms with the fact that nobody knows the answer and nobody has the answer. The answer is creating things that are fulfilling to you, and creating and writing and performing things that mean the most to you, and to be happy with that. Because at the end of the day, creative things are just like, they're so subjective when it comes to success, when it comes to, is it good, is it bad?
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
it is upon the audience to really take that on and say, I really like this and I resonate, or maybe it doesn't resonate. But as an artist, your goal, my goal should be to create things that speak to me, that I want to tell the world. And as long as I'm able to do that in the truest, most authentic way that is possible to me, I should feel comforted and confident in thinking that that should be enough. And I think that change in mentality has really helped me to really experiment more and to feel more confident and to do what I want as a creative person.
Can I just do a virtual high five, because I feel that's such a nice, just like, it's very thoughtful and very great answer actually. Also, I wanted to know, I mean, I think that also gave you the wings to sort of do the collaborations that you did, even back then and even now. I mean, with Arman Malik, I was just like, finally, someone thought of doing this collaboration, because I was just waiting for someone to just do this. I mean, I was just like, why is no one doing this collaboration? And then Echo came, and I was like, finally, someone did it. But also, I want to know, as an independent musician, I know that to navigate through all these collaborations, and to just maintain the authenticity of your sound but also experiment at the same time, can be again very like challenging, if I may say. How do you navigate through, and what are your thought process like when you're thinking of a collaboration? Like, how do you work on it?
Collaborations are usually pretty tricky because there are so many people involved. And also there's one thing where it's like, okay, if you and I are friends and we're songwriters, like maybe we sat in the studio for some time and we wrote
Correct.
something from, but oftentimes all the parties involved are too busy. We're all touring, or we're all shooting something, or we're never in the same place at the same time, which makes it really hard for things to happen organically. So I think there are certain artists that I really love, that I respect, that I enjoy listening to their stuff, and sometimes vice versa. And through DMs or through mutual connections, we get connected. Like, hey, we'd love to work on something. Sometimes it just ends there, and it's just like, oh, maybe one day it'll happen. Other times
Yeah.
it's like, we're like, get our teams on it. Let's actually make this happen.
Hmm.
And in the case with Arman and Kashmir, they already had this song Echo, like the bones of it really done. And I heard it, I was like, oh, this is a great song. This is like a fun song, and I could totally see myself on it. So I went in and I wrote my part. And then it just kind of went from there. But I think there has to be like a willingness and openness from all parties involved, and that's how it usually happens. But for me, I'm just always intrigued by, new up and coming, or even people that I just stumble upon, singers, songwriters, DJs, whoever. And I'm like, oh, I would love to see what it sounds like for me to put my voice or my songwriting on top of theirs. And so,
Do you,
yeah,
do you think that
hopefully there's.
liberation or that kind of freedom also comes from the fact that you're not that that you're actually acting as an independent musician, so that gives you a bit of more wings to sort of try and just take that bet, like, sometimes when you hear a new sound and you're just like, let's try. I don't think that happens a lot when you're tied to a certain label specifically,
Mhm.
right? Like, do you think that helps? Because I have seen you experiment time and again.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, I was always very different, even within the label system. I worked very independently, even within the label system.
Yeah.
So even starting in 2016, when I was at, my formal labels, I'd worked with so many artists, from Timbaland to Gallant to Tableau and Red Velvet, just like the list goes on and on. I didn't
Yeah.
realize how many collaborations I had done. But to me, it's like, I think I've always loved hearing unexpected musicians come together, even growing up, like featurings and all that stuff was like my favorite thing. I was like, I can't believe this person worked with this person, like such a cool thing. And I feel like there was a period where in K-pop it just almost didn't happen.
Yeah.
But I was like, I just think it's cool. We should do more of it. And it just kind of extended even into when I became fully independent, of like, why not? There's nothing that really hurts us in doing it. Sometimes we're helping artists that we really love and that I enjoy reach a
Yes.
different audience. And then the same way, they're helping me reach a different audience as well. And we get to create a really great piece of music. So independent musician or not, I feel like it's possible. It just has to come from the mindset of like the artist, I think, really pushing for it. Um, and
And
I
also
think
being
like,
secure.
yeah. And also being secure and feeling like, hey, if it's a good fit, like we're gonna be able to walk away with a really cool song and opportunity for everybody. And that's what's really exciting to me.
Yeah, and another thing that I've noticed about you is that the way you connect with your fans, not just, I mean, on social media, yes, but apart from that, also through the podcast that you do. And I feel that, I mean, there's a different personality that we always see, and you're able to do all of that very seamlessly. But I also know that you derive a lot of your energy from touring. And I'm so freaking happy that you're coming to India finally, because I know you. Correct me if I'm wrong. You tweeted twice that should I be coming to India, and every time me and my friend would go and comment, yes, definitely, Eric. What are you waiting for? Please do. So I am very very excited about this. But credit a bit. So finally, you're visiting the country again. What is that? What are you expecting, firstly, because there has been an enormous change over the years. Today, people here are very much looking forward to watching you perform. They know of you. I mean, I don't think 3 years back or maybe 4 years back that was the case. Genuinely speaking, now it's a lot more. What are your expectations as an artist when you come here?
Well, first of all, I'm so excited to be going back to India. I've never been to Mumbai either. I've only just had a flight connection through. So I'm very excited to be there, to hopefully meet some new friends, make some new friends, but also obviously to see my fans. It's a place that I've always wanted to go back to visit, to perform for, and to finally see nomination in person in India, I think is going to be so, I don't know, I think magical. And I try not to have like expectations, because for me, I'm always like, no matter where I go, I'm trying to perform for the people who are there, who are showing up,
Yeah.
who are just ready. If more people come, great. If people come and stumble on into a festival like, oh, I don't know this guy, I'm gonna listen, amazing. But for me, it's really about thank you to my fans who are showing up, who are there intentionally. And then if you become a fan, amazing, welcome to the family. So the expectations, like I have no idea what's gonna happen. The only thing
It's
I
gonna be
expect is that,
killer. It's
yeah,
gonna
the
be
only
killer.
thing I actually have expectation is it's gonna be a really fun time. It's gonna be a really good show. And I think more than anything, I'm gonna have a blast, and that will be, you know, a thing with me and the fans. So that's my expectation, that we're gonna have a great time.
You will.
And
I can promise you that, because I can see and sense and gauge the excitement that people have here for Lollapalooza, because that's the only place that we can finally see you perform, and hopefully that will open doors for you to come and perform a lot more here in India. Also, what's your bucket list looks like in Mumbai for the first time? Do you have like 2 or 3 places in mind, or 2 or 3 things in mind that you want to explore? Or we can send you a list. I mean, that's also
can
okay.
you please send me a list? I would
I
love a
will.
list. Because I don't even know where to start, but I'm so excited to go. I'm excited for the food as well. I'm excited to see I'm excited to see some new people that
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to meeting, and hopefully you know, it'll be great. I'm excited to meet you as well. But thank you
You
so
have to.
much.
Come on, let's promise this now, because I'm just hating the fact that we're doing it virtually. We should have done this
I
in person.
know.
But okay. I mean, as long as you promise that we'll meet when you're here, I'm okay about that.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure out a
Yeah.
way. I'm sure our teams will figure out a way to make it happen.
Simran, are you listening? Book my show. Are you listening? You should be listening. Okay, lastly, now I want to know, because you have been touring so much, right? And every country, oh sorry, every country, yeah, actually, and every state, every region has a different expectation, or their energy levels are quite different, right? Now when you're coming here, is your set list going to be the same, or have you gauged on what are the kind of songs that people have been jamming to when it comes to your songs in India? And do you change your set list according to that?
So we've kept like North America, Latin America relatively the same. I think Asia will have a slightly different set list. I'm still waiting to hear fully from the festival exactly how much time I have. And that will allow me to make the best set list possible. Having said that, it's going to be a lot of energy. It'll be high energy, a lot of jumping, a lot of dancing, maybe a few ballads, but just a lot of energy. So I hope people come ready to dance and to sing along.
Of course, we are ready to shed some kilos again. So I think thank you. Because we've binged so much anyway, right, during the holidays. So this is the right way to sort of like lose those kilos. So thank you so much. See, I tried to be a little funny because I was very, very nervous. I was like, oh my God, it's Eric and he's so funny. How do I keep up? But okay.
No, you were great. I can't even tell that you're nervous. You were so good. You're so well spoken and so eloquent. But thank you so much for, again, for the thoughtful questions.